diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello, hello. We're going to do a little bit of talking. Probably like, this is a boring topic. It's important, actually. And the more you know, okay, the more you know about any of this stuff, the better. Okay? In this case, knowledge is power. Okay? Yeah. There's people saying, I can't make it. Still listening to the footstep. This might be a lonely one. We will see. So, just to kind of qualify myself here a little bit and why I feel like it's okay for me to talk on these things. You know, I've been in and out of the industry for the last 34 years. I've seen the changes. I've seen what works. I've seen what actually works. And I'm certainly not presenting anything that's new. This is how I was taught to do things. And it worked, man. You know, back in the 90s, Colorado we were always in the top 10, man. But unfortunately, since then, recovery has become big business. And there's reasons for it. It all has to do with money. All of it has to do with money. And I call these people predators. They're recovery imposters, right? They act like they're in recovery, but what they are is two-steppers. Welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm going to be your host. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Yeah. Nobody's been showing up really lately, so anyway. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. All right. Let's start with detoxes. Okay. Yeah, because that's where everything starts. Let's start with detoxes. I worked at East Metro Detox here in Colorado myself. And I also worked detox back in the 90s. When I worked detox back in the 90s, it was actually an enjoyable job. Now it's just frustrating and heartbreaking. Okay. There's nowhere to send these people. Most of the people that you find in detoxes and these detoxes are going to be on Medicaid. And when it comes to Medicaid, there just isn't very many options. Okay. You know, when I worked at detox, there weren't any meetings going on. There were no meetings. Okay. I had to start bringing in meetings. I hope they kept them. There was no AA literature. None. There was no literature. There was one big book. Even my peers, because I was a peer specialist. And yes, I took all the classes. I have my certificates. I don't care. But, you know, I spent most of my time shipping people out of state. That's the money we really had. We didn't have, There's no money out there for these people. You see, it's being eaten up. It's being eaten up. Okay, I'll give you an example. Every state got money from an opiate settlement, right? This was actually a few years back. Okay, and we had like $12 million set aside for recovery and things like that. Okay, and what our governor decided to do is take 3 million of that dollars and give each person who got the corona shot $1 million. So he took $3 million out of our stuff so that we could give 3 people $1 million for getting the corona shot. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the things that I'm talking about. Colorado does not care. In and of itself, I can tell you right now that the people that make these decisions for us, like deciding who I can vote for president, that's fucking bullshit. Wow. And you see, detoxes used to be run by people in recovery in Colorado. And then somewhere along the lines, the government came along and told detoxes, hey, we will pay you more money if you start hiring people with bachelor's degrees so that we can get these education people going. And what it did is decimate us. It almost killed AA. We bought it. We bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. Okay. So that's the main problem right there. If we would make that one change here in Colorado and make the detoxes 90% recovery and 12-step based, okay? See, when we do something like that, we work on what's called a success rate. And when we work with a success rate, we become accountable. Anytime we are not accountable, we're fucked. Okay? Most alcoholics are not going to make themselves accountable. They're not. Okay? I myself make sure I am very accountable. I'm accountable all day long for everything that I do. Every step I take, every move I make, I am that sting song when it comes to being accountable. Okay? So, that's detoxes. Now let's talk about treatment centers. There's a couple of good ones in Colorado, but they don't take Medicaid. All right. Treatment centers work. They do work. The right ones work. There's one up in, the only one that I will tout, the only one I will talk on is Spiro up in Evergreen. They're a 12-step base, and I love what they do. Now, they don't take insurance, which is kind of the downfall. It's $9,500 for the month. A lot of people don't have $9,500. I tried to raise money for that, but people just weren't going to go for it, right? So treatment needs to be readily available for everyone, okay? Yeah, and that's the way it used to be. But we started shoving more money into it, and people started grabbing for it, okay? Do you need a treatment center to get sober? No, you don't. I'll tell you what you need. AA. Detox in AA. It'll work just fine. I know a lot of people that did it that way because they couldn't afford treatment or they couldn't take 30 days to go to treatment. You know, people have kids, man. We're going to move on to recovery coaches now. Actually, we're going to start with the training of recovery coaches, and then we'll talk about recovery coaching. Recovery coaching would have been great. It was a fantastic, the ideal, the intention itself was a great idea, but they're not following the rules, okay? Number one, they're unregulated. And please stop telling me that they're regulated. No, they are not. Dora said they are not going to regulate it. I have the letter. The only thing that is regulated with recovery coach training and recovery coaches are their hours. That's it. That's it. For certification and for supervision so that the state can make their money off of you. Other than that, they don't give a fuck what they're doing. I've gone to the government about it. I've gone to the attorney general. The attorney general director said, hey, you got a great case here. We're going to use it. Never to hear from them again. Wonder what's going on there. Right? When it comes to training, okay, this is what I hear. Okay, I asked this question once. Don't you think ethically that you should be training people who have completed the steps or at least have a year of sobriety? And this was their answer. Their money is green too. As long as their money is green, that is their only requirement to train. See, they don't care. They're not accountable. They don't need to be accountable. Dora said, do whatever the fuck you want to. And they are the regulating company. How unthinking is Dora to say, hey, and no, not Dora the Explorer. Dora is an entity. It stands for something. I don't recovery. R's in there, so it stands for recovery, right? But Dora regulates all the recovery stuff here. Okay, but they're not regulating them. So they said, hey, unhealed alcoholics and addicts, hey, two-steppers. You know what two-stepping is? Step 1 and 12. That's all that they do. They don't go to meetings. They have not healed. So what we have is a bunch of unhealed alcoholics and addicts out there being recovery coaches giving advice. Advice is the worst thing in the world for us. Let me tell you what advice is. Advice is control. See, they're going to give them advice. It's going to work because it works for all of us. And then this person over here is a recovery coach is going to say, look what I did. And then they'll put that on Facebook and brag about it. Is that how recovery works? So why is recovery big business? Okay, because it is easy to manipulate us when we first get here. So easy to manipulate. One, you have to build trust. Okay, these people know how to build trust. They're very, very good at it. Okay, they come in the form of narcissists. And they may not be full-blown narcissists, but they certainly have the tendencies. I know I did when I was unhealed. When I left my alcoholism untreated, I had narcissistic tendencies. You bet I did. Okay. Now, I'm not saying every recovery coach is like that because they're not, but 95% of them in Colorado are. Right. And what's made it worse is now that they've gone out and pretty much destroyed the name of recovery coach, go to a room of therapists, go to a treatment center and bring up recovery coach and watch everybody run. You watch, bring it up. Okay. Now they're just making up names. Some of these people are calling themselves peer support specialists instead of recovery coaching, or they'll call themselves a recovery coach supervisor or senior recovery coach. These are all made up names. These are all made up titles. Okay. They don't exist. They're making it up. This is what we call reinventing the wheel. Okay. I have several books here, and these books to me explain all the mistakes that they made before me. So that way I don't have to go through them. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? Okay. But none of that worked until I conformed to something. Now, I'm not saying you have to go to AA. AA is not the only way. I believe in other paths. There's 4 other paths that I know of that work. At one point, a recovery coach told me there's 47 different paths. Bullshit. Okay? There's about 4 different paths, and the rest are bullshit. The rest are made up. Okay. Now let's talk about sober livings. Or should we call it body brokering? Because that's what sober livings have become. Okay. Recovery and sober living do not connect. I'm sorry. Okay. Go to a sober living home, ask the manager how much time they have. You're going to find anywhere from 3 to about 6 months. And they never make it. Okay. When I went through my recovery coach class, there was a kid in there and he was going to be a sober living manager. He had 3 months. And this kid was nowhere near ready. He was nowhere near ready. He was a great guy, good head on his shoulders, cool dude, but they were doing him a disservice, right? We are not to have any major changes in the first year. So these sober living and recovery coaches turn these people into something they are not. And then when they fail and don't stay positive, they fall on their face. Then what happens? Then they have to start all over again. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. That is body brokering. It is done intentionally, and it is prevalent in Colorado. Okay? It's made it even more unfortunate in the fact that now I have to treat every single recovery coach, sober living, and detox guilty until proven innocent. That's what it's done. I can't trust people in the industry. I've never been treated so bad in any industry. And I was in credit card sales. Okay. That thing's cutthroat. I've had people try and put me down in federal court. And yet I have been treated worse in the recovery field than any other field I've been in. I've been used. I've been abused. People take advantage of the fact that I have a ton of knowledge. They want to pay me $16.50 for it. You know what? Fuck you. Fuck them. No. We can't tolerate this anymore. Okay? Now, I'm not saying there aren't good things going on. There are. Hey, Gary, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Hey, thanks for listening to me yesterday. I appreciated that. I really did. It helped me out. And so not to say that there aren't some good things going on. I gotta give some credit to Adams County. Kelly Preheim and Emma Goforth. They are in the Adams County Behavioral. And they're doing great things, man. Fantastic things. I mean, and I've gone off on these people, and they have listened to me with patience and tolerance, and now we're friends. Okay. Now they're asking me to do things. They're asking me to be a part of this. This is all great stuff. And I'm hoping that Adams County can become the example that we need here. That we need. Okay. A government that actually gives a fuck. Okay. Aurora don't. Arapahoe County don't. Douglas County. Ooh. Horrible. Horrible, man. Okay. So we have all these people out here making all this money off of all these people. Okay. Now I became a peer support specialist and they paid me $16.50. Okay. That's about what a recovery coach makes because of Medicaid. You do have billing for other insurances. Okay. So when we could start taking insurance, okay, it was great, but you just gave power and control over money to a bunch of unhealed alcoholics. Therefore, Dora not thinking this through? They know about alcoholics. They know about addicts. Why are they letting this happen? Somebody's making money somewhere. It's what it is. It's money. They think the value of a human life is about $500. Okay? So you tell me how these recovery coaches are putting new roofs on their head over there on their houses. Okay? How they're going on vacation to Jamaica and shit. I'm not kidding. Then how are they doing that? I'm going to tell you how they're doing it. The opioid money. They're stealing it. It's the only way they could do it. It's the only way. And I know this because I'm in the field. I know this. You cannot make enough money as a recovery coach to earn a decent wage. You don't. That's not how it works. Okay? A lot of recovery coaches that do this the correct way in the beginning have to use their own resources like food banks and things like that. Okay? Like with me, I need a new pair of shoes, man. I have the money for it. Not right now. God give me a new pair of shoes. I needed a haircut this last week. I'd ask my daughter to do it. You know? And those are things sometimes that we have to do. Right? So the reason that recovery has become big business is because it is easy to manipulate people when they are down. That's why. Yeah. Hospital. So everything is set up the way that they want it. And it needs to change. Right? So we need to keep yelling and screaming. We need to keep saying something. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Gary, it was good to see you. Appreciate you, brother. I love you all. Peace out.